So we acknowledge and respect the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we are meeting upon here today. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationships of Aboriginal peoples to country. We also pay respect to the cultural authority of Aboriginal people visiting or attending from other areas of South Australia and Australia present here. And I think without further ado, I might hand over to Tisha to get us started.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I am so thrilled to be here with all of you today. It's always a pleasure. And today we're going to be
Going to
diving
be diving
into the
into the
second session, the second session of the series called Designing in Canva for Educators. And before we get going and start the session, I always like to find out where your comfortability level is with Canva. So if you feel like you are a brand new user, maybe you've opened up Canva, but you haven't really created yet, I would consider yourself a 1. And then if you are at a 5 level, you might be using Canva daily in the classroom or weekly in the classroom. So in the chat, if you could just let us know what level you're at, it always helps me guide our conversation and just make sure that I am meeting the needs of everybody who is in attendance. And we are all across the board. I love it. We have a 5. Jody, I love that you love Canva. And we have lots in between. Julie, I'm glad that you are here. Lots of 1s that are just new to Canva. That's fantastic. And we have some that are kind of in the middle. So I hope that you all come away today excited about Canva for Education, empowered to not only bring Canva for Education into your educational role, but also empowered to bring it into the classroom and get your students using Canva, because it really is an amazing tool. My name is Tisha Richmond, and I am a Canva Learning Consultant. I've been a Canva Learning Consultant for a little over a year, but I've been using Canva since 2014. I was sharing a little bit earlier. I've loved it for a very long time, and it's been very fun to see Canva evolve and grow over the years. I also am a student engagement and professional development specialist in Oregon. And I also create content for the Canva for Education template library. And I'm the author of Make Learning Magical, which is a book about transforming your teaching and creating unforgettable experiences in the classroom, which fits right in line with Canva. So this is our agenda for today. For those of you who are brand new to Canva, I always like to just do a quick overview of what Canva is and why you might want to use it. Then we're going to be diving right into designing in Canva. I'm going to be sharing with you editor tips and tricks. And then we might have a little bit of time for hands-on learning. But what I would really recommend is, if you are able and you do have maybe a dual screen, maybe have your Canva for Education up on one screen and have my presentation on another. So you kind of can be learning and trying things all the way through. Everybody learns different, and so I like to acknowledge that, and whatever learning works best for you, please go ahead and do that. And then we are going to have time for Q&A at the end of the session. But please, if you have questions as I am sharing, please put those in the chat, because I want to make sure I address any questions as I go. Sometimes those questions are best answered in the moment, and I definitely understand that. So what is Canva for Education? Canva for Education is an all-in-one visual communications platform, and truly just about anything that you can think about creating digitally, you are going to be able to create in Canva. And Canva has kind of unveiled this visual suite. And in the visual suite, you are going to find different products such as docs and websites and infographics. You're going to be able to create logos, you're going to be able to create presentations, and you're even going to be able to create videos and so much more. And so you really are able to come in here and create anything that you can possibly think of. And what's beautiful about that is so can students. So students are going to be able to demonstrate their learning in numerous ways. I get this question a lot. Why is Canva for Education free? At Canva, we believe that education is a human right, and Canva for Education empowers everyone to create, collaborate, communicate, not only in the classroom, but beyond as well. And one thing that we find to be unique about Canva is that the skills that students learn when they are in Canva for Education are going to transcend the K-12 landscape, because Canva is becoming an industry standard. You are going to see Canva in big businesses like Walt Disney and Amazon. You're going to see people use Canva in small businesses as well. And the platform that they're using in those businesses looks just like the platform that our students are using. And so those skills are going to stay with them beyond their K-12 experience. And I also love that Canva supports the 4 main categories of the ISTE student standards. And so when our students are creating in Canva and collaborating, we're meeting these categories of creative communicator, global collaborator, empowered learner, and innovative designer. And really, you will find that with Canva, anything is possible, and students will find that anything is possible, and that's where it gets really exciting. So we're going to start diving into Canva and share with you some of the ways that you can start designing and get your students designing. And we are going to, in this section, talk about how to create an engaging presentation and also how to create a collaborative whiteboard experience. And because I think that's a good place to start. And then we'll touch on some other things that you can do in Canva too. So when you are designing with presentations, you can use them in multiple ways. So you might think of the traditional presentation, right? You create a presentation and maybe you show it to your students. But there's so many more ways that you can use presentations. You can use presentations for daily lessons. You can use it as a teacher planner. You can find actual templates for brainstorming sessions with students. You might find templates for group projects that you can engage your students in. And you can even find games. There are gamified presentations that you can use in your classroom too. And in addition, your students are going to be able to create presentations as well. So when they need to demonstrate what they know, they're going to be able to go in and create their own presentations. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of the presentation and I'm going to show you a demonstration of what it looks like when we open up a presentation and how we would actually design that presentation. And when we do that, we are going to be kind of going over these 6 different kind of ways that you can create in a presentation. So one thing that I want you to see is that right now I am inside a presentation. This is within a design. So no matter if you have maybe an infographic and you want your students to demonstrate what they know or visually communicate data that they've collected on an infographic, that design is going to look very similar as far as how all of the features are set up. If you're in a website, very similar. If you are in a video. And so this is the design platform and what that is going to look like. So when I go over some of these features, they're going to be the same no matter what doc type you are in. So first of all, you're going to see on the left-hand side, this sidebar, there is a design button on top. And this has changed in the last couple months. It used to show just templates up here. But now they've broken it down into templates, layouts, and styles. So if I was going to explore templates, for instance, maybe I want to search for a brainstorm presentation, and I want to see what they have in the Canva library. When I type in the search bar, brainstorm presentation, all of these different types of brainstorm presentations are showing up. So maybe I decide, you know, I really like this one down here. As soon as I click on it, it's going to give me a little preview of all of the pages within this presentation, and I can individually select them and add them to my tray down here. Or I might decide I want to apply all of these pages. And when I click apply all 11 pages, now all of the pages to that template are going to be applied down here to the tray. And you can see that there are lots of different pieces to this presentation laid out. So once you've decided on what design that you want to use for your presentation, you have some options here. You are going to be able to look at layouts. And so you might want to change the way that your presentation pages are laid out. And by clicking on each one of these different layouts, it's going to replace that particular layout with what you have. And so you can really customize your presentation to lay out just like you want it to. Styles is really exciting because Styles is going to, I've got to take away my brainstorm presentation, but Styles is going to give you all of these different color palettes. And so you might like this presentation, you might like how it's all laid out, you might even like some of the content, but maybe you don't love the colors. You're going to be able to go in here and find a color palette that you do like. So maybe you like this one down here. I'm simply going to click on it. And what's going to happen is it's going to apply those colors to my presentation. So, and it has to be a presentation page that isn't like a fixed photo, and it can't be a page that's locked. So you can see when I clicked on that, it changed this presentation page to the color palette that I selected. Now you'll notice that there's this kind of two lines that kind of overlap in the center of this square. If I click again, it's basically shuffling those colors so it applies it in a new way. And I can keep clicking until I get that color combination that I really like. If I decided, you know what, I really like this color combination, I might decide now I want it to apply to all of my pages. I click apply to all pages, and it is going to apply to all of your pages across the presentation. And so I love using the styles for that reason, because it really allows you to customize the presentation exactly the way that you want to. Elements are where all of your graphics, photos, video, audio is going to live. So those of you who are brand new to Canva, I'm not going to go a lot in detail here, but just start exploring and clicking on all of the graphics, the lines and shapes, the stickers, and all of the things that are in that collection. I'm going to back up a little bit so that I can bring back my original list here of things. So customizing design is really done by going into each of these different parts of your sidebar and adding either graphics, photos, videos. You can bring in your own pictures, your own files. Maybe you have an audio file or a video you want to bring in. You're able to do that really, really easily. And you're able to bring in these different text boxes. And you can add these kind of customized text blocks and change, like once you've brought them in, you're going to be able to go up here on the toolbar and change colors. You're going to be able to animate. You can do all of the things that you see up here on the toolbar. And I want you to notice that everything that I click on the toolbar, the features that I have to edit that thing, whatever I'm clicking on, is up here on the top. So if I was to go into elements and I was to go in and I wanted to, let's say I'm going to just type dog, and I bring that in, now you notice this toolbar changes again. So pay attention to what you are clicked on within a design, because what you click on is how you're going to be able to edit that. I click on text and now that changes again. I want to show you bulk create because this is a feature that I think it's hidden and people don't realize it's there, and it's pretty magical what it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another page. And on this other page, I am going to look for a template. I'm going to look for a quote template. Or maybe I want to bring in this quote template here. I'm just going to pick the first one. What I can do is I can, with bulk create, it's basically a mail merge. So I'm going to be able to mail merge anything that I want into this slide, and it's going to make, like, let's say I had 10 things I want to mail merge. It's going to make 10 slides for me with each of the items on that mail merge. So I'm going to give you an example. I am going to, and I'm going to use the example by going into a feature that we have in all of our doc types now called Magic Write. This is not available to students. It's only available to educators, but it's basically AI kind of chat GPT functionality within Canva. So maybe I want to have Magic Write give me 5 math problems for grade 3. Let me do this. I'm going to say give create 5 addition math problems. I'm going to click enter. And so it's giving me these 5 math problems. I'm going to go ahead and copy those. And I'm going to go into bulk create, and I'm going to enter my data manually. And I am just going to add this here. So now it's added my data. I'm going to click done. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this. And I'm going to click on this future of communication box because that's where I want the mail merge to go. And I'm going to go up to the 3 little dots, and I'm going to click connect data. And I want it to connect it to the name because that's where I dropped the math problems. And then once I do that, I'm going to click continue. I want it to apply all of this data. And of course, it's not going to work for me. That's always how it is, isn't it? And when you click that, it should apply it to all of your pages and create them for you. Let me see if I can refresh. So I would think about how you can use this, because if you had, for instance, maybe gifts, like maybe you had certificates that you wanted to give students, think about how you could use that to mail merge all of your students' names to the certificate. Think about maybe you wanted to come up with word problems, or maybe, I mean, a number of things. You would be able to apply it to those text boxes, and it would, it's for some reason, oh, I didn't connect it. So really amazing functionality within Canva that you can use that bulk create, even name tags if you wanted to apply name tags to your pages. Text to image is another fantastic tool that we have within Canva, and it is hidden in your apps menu. And this is also using AI functionality. And this is available to students and educators. But what's fun about this is you're going to be able to create your own graphics. So think about your students maybe writing a story, and they want to be able to find a picture or be able to create a picture that depicts the story that they've just created. So let's say we want to make a picture, a panda riding a bicycle in the city. So I'm going to decide what kind of a style that I want. So let's say I would like this watercolor style. I'm going to decide on what kind of an aspect ratio that I want. And then I'm going to click create, and it is going to create those graphics for me. And so now I have 4 different pictures, watercolor pictures of a panda riding a bicycle. Maybe I decide, you know what, I would rather this be kind of in a filmic style. I can create again, and now it's going to make those pandas in a different style. And so really, I think fun to think of creative ways that you can get your students to create text to image in Canva. And you can also create your own images and be able to bring those into your presentations. Another feature that I think is phenomenal, and I think about students and really empowering them in their learning, and I think this record yourself is one of my favorites. And the reason why is it's going to be available in a lot of different doc types within Canva. Presentations is one of them. But they're going to be able to record themselves talking. They can either record with their picture, they can record just audio, or they can actually do a screencast. So if I go into record yourself, I am able to select either camera, camera and screen, or screen. You can turn your camera off if you don't want to have your camera on. That also is an option. And I'm going to be able to click record. Now, if I was in, if I wanted to record my actual presentation and have my notes to the side, I would be able to do that too. But I've clicked record. It is recording me talking. I'm going to click done when I'm ready. If I didn't like it, I could delete it. And then I'm going to save and exit. And so once I've created that video, it is going to drop down here in my video collection. And what it will do is it will not only drop it in my video collection, it will also drop it on my presentation. And so now I am able to add audio to my presentation on any page that I want to. And I love this because no matter what design you're in Canva, these are going to still remain here. So if we came out of this presentation and maybe your students wanted to create an infographic and they are in science and they want to visually communicate data that they have just collected in a visually engaging way, but then they want to talk about it. They're going to be able to create that and then add their video to it so they can talk about what they have created. Another fun way to use the videos is I can go in and I can search for frames. And I might want my video to just be displayed on a computer. I'm going to go ahead and click a clean slide here. So now I can take my video and I can hover over my computer and drop it in. And now my video is in a computer. So think about how much fun it would be to be able to create those recordings, and students can create as many as they want. There's no limit to the length of them, and then be able to bring them into their creations. Notice that now that I have clicked on my video, you're going to notice that up here, I have different options. I'm actually able to edit. If I wanted to cut the length of my video, maybe cut the beginning, I could do that. It's also going to allow me to do things like loop, autoplay. I'm going to be able to go in and maybe I want to remove the background from my video. It will actually remove the background from a video. So think about really green screen capability right within Canva. So maybe a student is talking about space and they want to put a background of space behind them and their video. They're going to be able to do that. So much creativity that our students are going to have when they are in Canva. And you can see that this is just doing its thing to process. I'll come back to it in just a moment, but it will remove that background for us.
Tisha, we've just got a question. Is there a maximum time for video?
There's no max. You can record as long as you want. And you can record as many as you want. And if you record these videos, we can also go into the video templates in Canva and be able to bring those together. And so you have a full video editor within Canva. Not only can you record video, but you're actually able to bring those together in a really creative way in a variety of templates. And they have YouTube templates, there are TikTok templates, Instagram Reel templates. And so when we think about our kids, right, they love consuming videos in this format. They love creating videos in this format. They're doing it outside of the school day. So when we are creating videos in a language that they love and understand, they are going to probably be so much more receptive to learning what we have for them. And how much more are they going to want to demonstrate their learning when they can create in that template style that they're already consuming and watching outside of the school day. It's really, really powerful. That's a really good question. Okay, did I get anything else come along? Okay, and then the last one here.
That's it.
Oh,
Sorry for questions at the moment.
okay, perfect. So, and then the last thing is I want to share presentation tips. So I used to go elsewhere to create my presentations. Now all my presentations are done in Canva, because not only can you make them very beautiful and visually engaging, you also have some really cool features. So when I go up here to present mode, I can present full screen, presenter view, I can present and record. And what that does is it basically allows me, so just like when I went in to record yourself before and you saw my circle on my page, it's going to do the same thing. However, it's going to show my notes and I can click through all of my slides and talk through them all. So maybe you have a presentation and you want to share it with students who are absent. You're going to be able to record yourself talking through the presentation and then share a link with them to that presentation. It's really powerful. And students too, they can create their own presentations and then they can talk through them and share those with you, or maybe put them in a gallery in Canva so that all the students can watch them. And then you have autoplay. So if you have an open house, back to school night, a time when you just want your video repeating itself, or maybe a slideshow of pictures repeating itself on your screen, you're going to be able to go into autoplay mode as well. And then I love these features here on the bottom. So you have one feature that is going to allow you to have an interactive Q&A. And an interactive Q&A means that you're going to get a join code, and students are going to be able to join in with that join code. And as soon as I click on start new session, and then they have an ability to ask questions. So in Zoom right now, or in Microsoft Teams right now, we're able to have a chat and you're able to ask those questions that you want to. However, when you're in an in-person classroom, students might have questions and your students might not be the ones that like to raise their hand. Maybe they have a really important question, or maybe they have a really fantastic idea, but they just don't want to raise their hand and share it out loud. They would rather do it in a back channel here. This is allowing them to do that. And I think that's really powerful when we can give our students that voice. And what will happen is when students leave comments here, you're able to click on them and they're going to go big on your screen so you can address them and then make them go small again. And so I think it's a really powerful tool that a lot of people don't know about for giving those presentations in class and really being able to engage your students and really amplify all voices in the classroom. Another tool down here that I love, and notice too that you are going to be able to show captions on any video that's created in Canva and any video in the Canva library. And so I love that they have really improved their accessibility features in Canva and have some great ways for everybody to access content. Okay, I'm going to hide. Let's see, I think I want to hide that. Okay, there it goes. So down here is presenter view. So I can go and have kind of my own screen with my notes, and I can have the screen that people see. And then I have these magic shortcuts that I love. And I think one of my favorite things about these magic shortcuts is that I can push any number on my screen and I am going to get a timer. So maybe I want to set the timer for 8 minutes. I simply click the 8 and I get an 8-minute timer. I want a 4-minute timer, I click the 4. I want a 1-minute timer, I click the 1. So there's no need to go outside of Canva to grab your timers. They're right built in. You can also celebrate things. Maybe somebody just did something great. You can throw confetti. Maybe a student just gave a presentation and you want to give them a mic drop. You can do that as well. There's some really fun tools hidden in these magic shortcuts that you can use. You can even do a drum roll, and you'll notice that the shortcuts to these are here. So a drum roll is simply clicking D your keyboard, and anytime you're trying to remember what those are, you just click down here below and you're going to find them. And the last one, so someone's asking how you can get those icons to show up on the bottom. You have to be in presentation mode. So once you go into presentation mode in your presentation, you're going to see them on the bottom by hovering. So if I, you kind of have to hover over the bottom and they pop up. Another one that I think is really valuable, and I use it all the time, is the remote control. So if I wanted to share the remote control to my phone so that I can advance slides on my phone and even throw confetti or drop a mic, I'm going to be able to do that by copying the link, opening it up on my phone, and now I'm able to use that as remote control. I do that. I use it all of the time when I'm presenting in person because it's just so handy. I always have my phone with me. The only downside is if it's not charged. As long as it's charged, it works great and I love it. So those are some really great things about presentations. And again, it's a great place to start. If you're new to Canva and you haven't created a presentation in Canva before, I encourage you to either create one from scratch, or you can actually go into your homepage and you can upload a presentation from Google Slides or from Microsoft and other platforms as well. So if you have a PowerPoint presentation, you can upload that as well into Canva. And you simply do that. There's a couple different ways to do it, but typically how I do it is I go into my projects on the left-hand side. I click on Add New, and now I can import from an app. So I can go down here, click Import from App, and it's going to grab it from either my Google Drive, my OneDrive, or my Dropbox. I also can upload it from my computer if I want to, and it'll bring it right in. And what's really neat about this is it's going to make everything in that presentation editable. So now I can change fonts. I can access all of the features that I just showed you really, really easily. And it makes it really streamlined. And so I highly recommend presentations in Canva. So I'm going to go back into our main presentation, and I am going to jump into whiteboards now. And whiteboards is, I feel like, one of those doc types in Canva that, again, is kind of that hidden gem that people don't realize is there, but it's a really valuable place to get students collaborating, creating really, and collaborating together. And a couple really neat things about whiteboards, you can actually expand out to a whiteboard right from your presentations. So I'm going to get back to where I was in my presentation. I'm going to show you what I mean. So down here, you can see this is the tray down here on the bottom. When I click on the tray and I click on the three little dots, you can see that I can expand out to whiteboard. And what that does is it brings me into a design that has no borders. There are no page end. There's no dimensions to this. I can go into infinity and beyond in any direction. And what's kind of neat about this is maybe you're giving a presentation or giving instructions to your class, but then you want to bring everybody into the presentation to collaborate. You simply are going to share. Anyone with a link can edit, copy that link, and now they're all going to have access to this whiteboard so that they are able to join in. And you can have up to 50 people in a whiteboard at one time. It's pretty fantastic. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you can use whiteboards, and then we're going to go into a whiteboard and I'm going to show you some of the features. So whiteboards in the classroom can be used for lesson planning. So it's a great place maybe to bring your whole grade level team in and do unit planning or lesson planning together. And there's some amazing templates made just for that in Canva. You also can have your students collaborate on things like diagrams. Maybe you want to have a Venn diagram and you want your students to be able to collaborate on a topic that you had just discussed in class. Maybe you want an exit ticket, so you want students to reflect on their learning for that day and leave a post-it. Maybe you want a place for students to just add notes. And you also can just have like idea boards and numerous ways for students to collaborate. So I'm going to get out of my presentation again, and I'm going to jump into this whiteboard. And I want to show you some of the features, and I want to show you some of the things that make this different than another design. So I mentioned already that this is an infinite space. There are no borders to this whiteboard. When you go over to the top, you are still going to be able to search templates just like we searched in presentations. And so maybe you're going to see some ideas down here, but maybe I want to search for KWL charts. It is going to bring up some different ideas. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this one. And when I click on it, it pops right into my presentation. And so I think what's exciting about this is you might already be doing a KWL chart in your class, or maybe you already have a lesson where students are going to be collaborating on a Venn diagram. You can actually upload it right into your whiteboard and use what you've already been using, but now you are bringing it into a digital platform for your students to collaborate in real time in class. So over here, I'm going to go back to kind of these different features. Like I showed you before, you're going to be able to search templates up here on top. Whatever design type or doc type you are in Canva, the templates are going to reflect that type of template. So it's a great way to search. Grids and frames are a great way to create your own templates. So I'm going to go back to my elements. And when I click on this search bar, you're going to see that I have grids and frames here on the bottom. So let's say that I click on this grid right here, and maybe we want to have a classroom debate about we have a topic that we want to debate, and we want students to debate on either side of the topic. I might want to bring in a template that looks like this. And a grid and a frame are basically a shape that you can drop a photo or a color into. So if I go up here to my colors and I'm clicked on this side of this grid and I click orange, now that side turns orange. I click on the other side and I click blue, now that side turns blue. And so this is kind of a great way to kind of build out a template that you want for whatever you are having your students collaborate on. Now, when you go to elements, you're going to notice that this elements looks a little bit different in that they have added some things right up top that are going to be very helpful when collaborating. So if I click on a sticky note, automatically that sticky note comes onto the board. And if you notice, it is going to allow me immediately to add my ideas. I don't have to add a text box. And if you look here on the bottom, it has my name. And so any student that grabs a Post-it note, it's going to have their name on it. So you know exactly who is writing on that particular Post-it note. Now, I am going to open up sharing access to this, and it might get a little crazy, and not everybody will be able to get in because only 50 people can be in at a time. But I want to drop it in because I think it's valuable for people to see what it looks like when people are all in a whiteboard at the same time. And so if you click on that link, you should be able to open it, and you're going to notice that people are going to start dropping into the top. And what happens is as people are joining in the whiteboard, did that work? Not sure.
Sorry, we don't have the link yet. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't click because
didn't
I
click
didn't
the send button.
I dropped it. I just didn't push send.
Oh, good.
It's 11 p.m. here. That's going to be my excuse tonight for anything. So go ahead. So you can see everybody has dropped on the top here. And now you can see people moving around. And so it looks a little different in a whiteboard than another design. And so that's why I like to show people what it looks like. You can see people have different colors, and we're seeing your full name. And so it's really useful when you are, as a teacher, you're wanting to see who is collaborating, what students are doing. Another thing that is really interesting, and this is something that just was launched, I think the last day or so, because I just learned about it today and I haven't really played with it. But what I believe happens if you click on my picture up here, Tisha Richmond, it will allow you to follow me. And what that means is that when you follow me, it is going to allow what you see. So Abigail, I can see, is following me now. When you're looking at your screen, when I move around on this whiteboard, your whiteboard is going to move where I move. And so what's helpful about this is that when a teacher might be wanting to talk through something before having students collaborate, the students are going to be able to follow the teacher really easily if they're following them, because they're going to see exactly where I go on this whiteboard. Is that doing that for you, Abigail, when you followed me?
I think my screen's playing up because it did follow me. It did move, but my screen's not letting me move to the side. So
That's
I think
okay.
it's my computer rather than Canva.
No, that's okay. It's like I said, it's a brand new feature and I just learned about it today. So I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I really thought that was pretty clever. And I really like that it does that. Another thing that's really good to know is that sometimes you can get lost because we are in an infinite space, go in any direction. Sometimes you want to just go back to home again. And so to do that, if you click on this percentage sign on the bottom and click fit, it's going to pop you right back to the center again. And so that is always a good thing to share with students, that you can go back to fit and get back to the beginning and reorient yourself to the space again. Another thing that I really love is you're going to be able to access these whiteboard graphics. And the whiteboard graphics are going to allow students to maybe add a heart or a thumbs up, or maybe an idea that someone likes, they might want to add a +1 to it. Or maybe they want to add a question, like, I want to learn more about this idea. And so maybe, and this is another feature that's really fantastic in Canva, I want to set a 5-minute timer and I want my students to brainstorm for 5 minutes. But when 5 minutes is up, maybe I'm going to set a 1-minute timer and I want to have everyone add a whiteboard graphic to the ideas that were shared. So it can be really, really powerful in learning. And like I said, just think about the ways that you're getting your students collaborating already, and think about how you could bring that into a whiteboard and maybe have them do that here instead. And not only are you going to find whiteboard templates in Canva that you can use, you can create your own, or you can upload one, a KWL chart, a Venn diagram, a mind map that you're already using, and now add it to this whiteboard. So it's a great tool. I think that there's so many possibilities here. Also notice that I am able to comment. So I can click here on comment, and now I can add those comments, and I can add those comments. Add a comment here, and then I can even add a sticker if I wanted to. So just lots of great ways to use this. Now, one thing that you might want to note, let's say you have your students all in here and they're collaborating, but maybe you want to kind of turn off collaboration and you just want to turn this into a shared document. I can go up to share, like a view only document. I can go up to share and I can change the edit access to can view. And now basically I've turned off collaboration. And what I've noticed is that when you do that, once you refresh your screen, collaboration stops. So you'll be able to continue collaborating until you refresh, and then it is turned off for you. Last thing, and I think this is a really a great way to use whiteboards. Let's say that you just did a science project in class and you want your students to create an infographic. And you're going to be able to find lots of infographic templates in the Canva library. And you want them to create that infographic, but you really want them to share it with the class and you want them to display it. If you go into Canva, and I'm just going to give you an example. I'm going to go into my home. I'm going to click on infographic. I want to make sure I'm clicked on templates. And let's say we want to look at, we'll just click infographic. It's going to give me lots of ideas of infographics that I can use. And I also want to make mention that I think it's the A4 dimension doc type that you use. If you search A4 in your search menu too, you're going to find docs that are in that format. Did I say that right, Abigail? Is it A4 that you use? Okay. So make sure that you add A4 if you want a doc, because it will print the way that you want it to that way. So let's say that every student, maybe they're talking about fractions. They want to demonstrate their understanding of a fraction. Once they create that infographic, if they go into their share menu and they click the view only link, that is going to embed right into their whiteboard. And so you can actually do a gallery walk and display everybody's work right within the whiteboard that you've created. So I'm going to go back to my whiteboard. I'm just going to move over here. Oh, I'm so glad that someone used the draw tool, because that's what I want to talk about next. And I'm just going to simply click paste. And now my infographic that I've created is now going to show up in the whiteboard. So think about, you could even put shelves on your whiteboard and have every student display the infographic that they created on that shelf in their whiteboard. And now you have a gallery walk. Students can come in and maybe they can add their hearts, they can add their questions or not, however you want to lead that activity. But I think it really opens up so many possibilities that are really exciting. The draw tool is right over here to the left-hand side. I was going to share this later, but it's one of my very favorites. I'm going to share it now. The draw tool is able to be used not only in any type of doc, but also in whiteboards. And that wasn't always the case. It used to be, for those of you who are the level 5s, you might have noticed in the past you were not able to draw in a whiteboard. Now you can. And so if I simply click on a color, I might want to change it to blue. I can draw right within my whiteboard. So I'm just using my mouse right now, but if a student had a touch screen, they would be able to just use their finger. If they had a stylus, they could use that. And so think about students making connections, drawing. I mean, they can do all sorts of things here. And what I've heard this works. Let me see if it does. I don't know, there's a trick to it. I heard that if you, there might be something I have to push. I heard that they've made a function too, where if you draw, it kind of uses its AI capabilities and will actually like pop that circle into like a perfect circle. But there's something that I'm missing in the process. It's a feature that they just released. So there's lots of new things that just released that I'm still learning about as well. I also want you to, so going back to draw, think about students annotating. Think about them in primary. Maybe you want them to circle the pictures that start with the letter A. Maybe you want them to draw a line from one object to its definition. Maybe you want to do close reading, or maybe you want them to sketch note and you want them to be able to take notes this way. So many possibilities with the draw feature in Canva. Okay. I get so excited about these things, I have to stay on track. I'm pacing myself. So I really encourage you to try out whiteboards because they are so fun and just so many possibilities. So I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks in Canva. And there are so many, so I'm just going to name a few. You're able to create resource folders in Canva to save your favorite things. And so if you have favorite elements that you love, that you want to create a collection of, anything that you hover over, you're going to be able to drop into a folder by clicking on the 3 little dots and going here to add to folder. And you are going like, I have a folder for my glow, for my profile pics. I can drop them all in there, and then I am going to be able to find them very easily when I go to my images in my projects. So really great way to get organized and really be able to put those things that you love together in a folder. Also, you are able to do that with your uploads as well. So if you want to kind of clean up your upload folder, you can also hover and add anything in there to a folder so that you can find those easier later as well. There are also some very cool playbooks that you're able to access, and you're going to get this presentation, so you'll be able to find these in there. But the playbooks are going to basically give you lots of collections of things that you're going to be able to use to create your presentations. And so definitely check those out, and you're going to find lots of different ideas there. I love the playbooks. Embed media, I showed you that in the whiteboard. You don't need embed codes in Canva. You simply copy the link, paste it in your presentation, in your doc type, and it's just going to automatically embed for you. YouTube videos, if you had a YouTube video or another video that you wanted to embed by link, you're going to be able to do that as well. And then you can lock anything, and everything on this can be locked in place. And so, like, for instance, on that whiteboard, if you wanted to lock certain features of that whiteboard, maybe the template down so students couldn't move that, you can lock it down. I can even drag my cursor over all of this and simply click lock. And now that is all locked in place and it can't be moved. And so really helpful when you want certain things movable for students in a template, but you don't want everything movable in templates. And then also I want to show you over here on the left-hand side, if this gets too busy for you, because anytime you grab something from the apps, it's going to pop up onto your sidebar. But you might try something and you really are not going to use it very often and you want to hide it again. You are simply going to be able to click on it and click the X, and it goes away and it hides it back into your apps again. And so it's a really great way to kind of clean up that sidebar and make sure that it doesn't get too cluttered.
Tisha, we've just got a couple of questions. I'm not
Yes.
sure whether
Yes.
you can answer them now. So
Yes.
Roy's asked, can you animate certain elements to come into a slide in presentation?
You can. Really exciting new feature with this too. So let's say I'm gonna bring in a butterfly. I'm gonna look at my graphics, and I'm gonna bring in this one here. If I go up to my edit image, oh no, I have to go to animate. I'm sorry. This is brand new. I'm going to click on create an animation. So I can use some of these basic animations here, but I also can create an animation. And so what I can do is I can make a path for this butterfly so that it flies across my screen. And now that butterfly is animated to whatever path I've chosen it to go on. And you can see it was kind of choppy because I was choppy when I was drawing that line with my mouse pad. But if I click smooth, then it smooths it out. I can also speed it up, slow it down, and I can orient it to the path, which means it kind of does this topsy-turvy thing, and it will turn the way that the line turns. And so I have seen some of the creations students have done with this animation, and it's incredible. So again, think about your students creating a presentation, a video, and now having the ability to animate. Amazing. So much creativity can be done with that tool.
And we've got another question
Yes.
from Susan. When you invite students or other staff into your whiteboard, can they hit the back button and see your other files too? I think she's asking, if they can see what you can see on your screen. So.
Well, they can see what you see on the screen, but they can't get into your things. Like, you're not inviting them into your Canva. You're just inviting them to the whiteboard. So your uploads, all of the things that you see on your screen, they're not going to be able to see. They're going to have their own side panel. They're going to have their own, all of the things. Everything else is their own. It's just the whiteboard design is what is being shared. That's a really good question.
Perfect.
Okay, we have a couple minutes left. Translate just released in Canva. So it is going to detect the language that's in your design, and you're going to be able to translate it to over 100 languages. So if I wanted to translate this to Czech, I can simply, I'm on page 46, I can decide the page that I want it to be translated to, and I can pick a number of them, and then I can click translate, and it is going to translate that page to that language. Now, if I go up to settings up here, I can decide if I want it to duplicate this page so that it has my original and then the translated, or I can just have it translate the original. I also can choose for it to reduce the font size to fit the language, because you know, some languages have more characters than others, and so it will automatically change your font if you want it to that particular size. So again, another feature that I'm really excited about for accessibility. So now not only do you have closed captioning in all videos in Canva, now you also have the translate as well. So powerful and so exciting to know that we have that now in Canva. So I am there's so much more. And that's one of the things with presentations. And like, oh, but I want to show them one more thing, but we have come to a close. And so I do want to make sure that I close with Q&A, and that I do leave you with some resources. You're going to get this presentation. And so I will share that with you before you go. And then I'll also be sharing resources with Abigail. But there are lots of teacher resources with tutorials, design playbooks, student resources, and more. You can click this link to find them. You also can find them when you go to the top of your homepage in Canva. There's a Learn button. You also can find those there as well. There are teacher courses that you can take. And there also is an amazing teachers community on Facebook that you can join. And there are communities on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow at Canva EDU on Twitter, and you're gonna just connect with so many educators that are using it in so many different ways. If you follow these hashtags, those are great hashtags to follow. And then we always love your feedback. So if you scan this QR code at the end, when I share this presentation, it will actually send you a certificate. And that is it. It's been a joy to be with you all today. Thank you so much for having me. Again, I would stay up late for you any day. So I'm excited to come back again soon.
Thank you very much, Tisha. I think we've all learned a lot. There was one other thing we were going to mention for people to stay tuned for. So we've got 2 more sessions that Tisha's running for us next term. One is a repeat from the first session that she ran earlier in this term. And then we've got a session 3, but we've got some exciting things that we're in the stages of planning for term 3. So if you are a Canva champion, so maybe some of those people that wrote 5, and when Tisha asked that first question, stay tuned, because we've got some exciting things coming up in term 3. But other than that, unless anyone has any quick questions, we might let Tisha get some sleep.
I'm happy to stick around if any of you have questions. I know that was a lot to cover.